So I was discussing that sales is equal to number one, the positioning, number two, the process, number three, the people. So with the formula which I just said, I came up with this formula that sales is equal to the positioning, the people, and the process. The first P actually, so it's actually a step by step thing. So number one is the positioning. Positioning. What is positioning? Positioning is actually has seven different ingredients which also start with a P, letter P. So number one, positioning. Number one P is the product knowledge. So no matter what you do, how you want to do, and when you want to do, and where you want to do, it's basically the most important thing is the product knowledge. Now, think about your business for a second and think about, or your service, or you as yourself as a product. So if you think about it, the more you are having the product knowledge on a certain subject, on a certain field or an industry, or locally or nationally or whatever, the more stronger you are in your game of sales. So the product knowledge is the most important thing. Just think for a second, the most one of the think of your last you were sold on a certain product, and think about the salesperson or the person who got involved with you, and or the best salesperson you can ever think of. That person, you will agree with me that had the most knowledge. That's non-negotiable. That person had the maximum knowledge, and that's why you were sold with that person. So product knowledge, it goes with the company also. You can scale this up. So the company, the like our brain is, as a customer, as a client, your brain works in a very on a pattern. And that pattern is that number one, that you have different brands and products and services. And if we break it down, the highest level of the product or a company or a service we rank in our head is basically the company which actually is on the highest level of product knowledge, which always updates you on a certain product, always updates you on a certain service. They always tell you about that industry. That gives you the maximum information. No other company can ever give you that information better than that person, or better than that company, or better than that service. So number one, it's the product knowledge. The most important thing on the whole positioning pillar is actually of the sales is standing on the product knowledge as a first thing. Number two, it's actually how we make a perception in the mind of consumer. So marketers have a very good skill of painting a picture in the mind of consumer, and they do a very good job with creating that perception or painting that picture or creating that sketch in your mind. So being a good salesperson, the first and most important thing is that you should be like a storyteller or a painter or a film, a director of or a producer of a movie. So it's very important that how you want to position, how you want to, and that image you have to first create. You have to make and paint and sketch, and that image you have to give to the client. Number one. So number third point is that we always sales has a plane. It has an introduction, it has a climax, and it has a close. Everything has a pattern. As a client, you don't know these patterns, but salespeople know that. So it's like a story, it's like a film, it's like a song. So you start off with introduction, you start off with hook, which we call in our sales terminology. So salespeople usually start off with engaging you in something which does people engage people with a common interest. So if you want to be a good salesperson and master the art of sales, the first thing is, of course, I was discussing that number one is you have to be the expert on the product knowledge. You have to know each and everything. Nobody should know more than you. Number one. Number two is that, like I was saying, the product knowledge. Number two is the perception, the painting the picture, the sketch, and how your mind has that image, and you created that image in the mind of consumer. That art should be there. Number third point is the plane. There is a pattern. You first start with a hook. You then do the introduction of your story or your product or a service, and then you go to the climax and you sell, and you try to do all these different benefits and features and all these things, and then you start closing people, and you start circling around that how you want to close this deal. So that's number three.